Hello, I'm Leila Farhani and welcome to this SPSS statistical tutorial. Today we're gonna do first part of series on SPSS statistics. SPSS is one of the most widely used statistical softwares. It is used for statistical analysis of data and is used in various studies in medicine, psychology, management, marketing, economics, and various fields and specialties. With SPSS, you can work both graphical user interface and programming or syntax writing. In this part, I'm gonna introduce IBM SPSS, how to create variables, and how to do data entry. To be clear, I'm using IBM SPSS 26 for this tutorial. If you're interested in this tutorial series, you can subscribe to this channel to be informed of future videos. Let's get started. I run the SPSS. This sheet is the home page where the variables are defined and the data are entered. Here are some menus, and I will explain in detail during this course the most commonly used menus. In first menu, File, we can create a new data file or a new syntax or output file. Data is this home page. You can see now we have opened. In data file, as I said, we can define variables and enter data. In syntax file, we can write syntax of all analysis, compute variables, and all processes on data. And in output file, you can see all tables, graphs, and result of all analysis. You can open all SPSS files from here. Now I want to open a data file saved on my desktop. Just click on the file and open. And we can choose the directory address from here. My file address is desktop and don't need to change. Data is opened. Now I want to open a syntax file I have saved on my desktop. Syntax has SPS file format. Open. Now you can see my syntax file. This includes descriptive statistic command. In future videos, I will explain how to write syntax. In import data, we import data files in other formats such as Excel, Stata, and SAS. Now I want to open an Excel file. The file is on my desktop. I choose it and open. Here we should choose the worksheet that we want to open. My data is in first sheet, then I choose sheet 1. In my data, first row is the name of the variables. Then I choose to read first row as name. Click on OK, and then the data will be opened. This is my data, and you can see first row is the name of the variables. The next menu is data. I will teach in this course, and the most useful option in this menu are sort cases, split data, select case, and weight. We will explain in detail in future videos. In transform menu, we can compute a new variable by the variables in the data. For example, mean of several variables, or recode variable into a new variable. In analysis menu, all analysis such as descriptive statistics and compare means, analysis of variance, regression, correlation are done. In graph menu, we can draw different kinds of graphs. Let's get acquainted with the data file and how to enter variables. Below there are two data view and variable view tabs. At first, I'm gonna explain the variable view sheet, where we define variables, specify the type of variables, and so on. And then I'm gonna explain the data view sheet where we enter the data. Now as an example, we wanna enter some features such as name, gender, height, weight, and education level of a few students in SPSS. In the first column, we will write the variable's name. SPSS has some rules for variable names. If you don't follow the rules, software will give an error. Do not use the same name for 2 or more variables. Names should be less than 64 characters. Do not use a space. $, @, hashtag, underline are not allowed as initial. Do not use these keywords as name. Names should not end with underline. Okay, we are defining variables. Double click and type the variable names: gender, height, weight, education, name. Now I want to move this variable to the first. To this, I should select a variable by clicking the row number and then drag and drop the variable to the first one. I suggest you always enter an ID or number variable and write this number in each questionnaire. In case you don't have name variable, you can find each person's data by ID and match it with a questionnaire for any addition after data entry. For next section, we should define each variable type. By default, all variables define numeric. We have to change it to a string for name variable. And in case you have date, you should choose date type. You may be wondering why we did not choose a string type for gender and education. Because for variables that have limited categories, we assign a number to each category and enter the numbers in the SPSS. For example, in this case, I will assign 0 to male and 1 to female. For education variable, 1 to primary, 2 to secondary, and 3 to high school. For nominal variables, how coding does not change the result of the analysis. We could assign different numbers to male and female. But in ordinal variables, we have to follow the order in coding. And then we could define measures of variables. We choose a scale for variables that have a numeric value. Ordinal data have a position in class as first, second, etc. Categories have order. Education is an ordinal variable and gender is a nominal variable. Nominal variables are not numeric and don't come with order. For example, race, marital status, color. In this example, height and weight are scale, education is ordinal, gender and name are nominal. Now I'm going to define values for non-numeric variables that entered as numeric variable. We should define values. 0 for male, add, and 1 for female, add, and then OK. For education, 1 for primary, add, 2 for secondary, add, 3 for high school. Add and then OK. Output table will show you labels instead of values. Second column is width. We have to change it for variables more than 8 digits or character. In this example, we have name Christopher with 10 characters. We have to change it to 10. In decimal column, you indicate the number of digits that appear to the right of the decimal point in data view. By default, it is 2 digits. If you change it to 0, it will not affect your data and don't remove the digits after decimal points. It is just about how value appears on the screen. In label column, you can describe what a variable represents. They will show in outputs instead of variable names. By right-clicking on the numbers, you can insert variable and delete it by clear. Now we go to Data View tab for data entry. We enter each person's data in only one row. First one is Christopher with 130 height, 30 weight, male, and his education level is primary. I entered first one as an example. After that, you can pause the video and practice it. If you entered a data incorrectly and deleted it like this, you can see the row is active by dots in each cell. SPSS consider it as a missing value and show it in outputs. For this reason, we should delete the whole row by right-click on the row number and clear it. You can adjust column width here or changing the column in variable view. And by click on this, you change the view to this text value rather than their numerical equivalent. And by double click on each variable, we can access to this variable in variable view sheet. We can change or edit the name of variable by click on this cell. My data entry is done now. I can save it by click on this or going to file and save. You can change the directory or file name. Data is saved by SAV, and there is an output file that includes all changes, all analysis and graphs we have done. It's in SPV format. In next video, we will review different kind of questionnaire and surveys and some examples of data entry and talk about different kind of variables.